What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Culture 316 podcast. I am one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
Brought to you by your co-host, Mo Meanie Man.
Oh, God. We had a whole discussion before the pod even started, and it deterred my attention away from the name. And now that she said it like that, it's here. So thank you, Mo. But thank you guys so much. Big meaty men slapping meat. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode. I know we were supposed to go on Thursday. There's just been a lot happening in our world. But if you are on Apple or Spotify podcast, be sure to give us a 5 stars. Be sure to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you want to build community with us, be sure to hit us up on our our Discord. I keep saying Reddit instead of Discord, but keep joining us on Discord as we continue to build that family and build that community. But, there's been a lot that's been happening since the last time we came on here, so we're not even going to waste any more time because last week it happened. AEW, or former AEW World Champion CM Punk, was fired from All Elite Wrestling right before AEW presented All Out, the follow-up to All In the United Center in Chicago, ironically, where he made his debut less than 2 years prior. I wanted to kind of get your stance. CM Punk is fired. Was it a good move? Was it a bad move? Did Tony Khan do the right thing? Talk to me.
Oh, I was excited. If no one saw from my celebration online, I was excited. I on a personal level, I was excited. Now, but I want to break it down. Because there's many angles to pick at this from. I think that if I was a boss, what was that?
I have no idea. It was an ad. Keep going.
I thought he wanted sound effects. I thought he had
No.
a soundboard now. Oh, yeah. I feel like you could look at this from different angles, but I'm gonna just say it from my angle first. First and foremost, I think it's well deserved. I think that he had it coming. Now, we still don't know to this day because we were not there to see the footage of who started with who. But from what I collected, it seemed like they had an argument, and then one person handled it during the pre-show, and then they picked up on it, and then what should have been fizzled out so that we could just continue on with the show, Punk just fucking blew off. He blew off. He was being very unhinged. People couldn't get a hold of him. He didn't want to do his match. He was yelling out to Tony he wanted to quit like a little bitch. And then it went as far as to him putting his hands on other people. So personally, if I was a boss, I was sitting where Tony is, I don't blame him for getting rid of him. I don't. Tony Khan has stated himself, and we have not seen any reports quite yet, but we do know for a fact off that announcement he said that his life felt threatened. Now, while I still think that Tony Khan's a bitch and he probably never been in a fight in his entire life, I'm gonna give him credit where it's due. Because I did not think he would do the unthinkable. We know that he loves CM Punk. And we know how much money CM Punk brings into the company, especially merch-wise. He's the highest selling merch. The ratings go up the most in all Collision when CM Punk's on screen. I'm not going to take that away from Punk, but at the end of the day, you guys are all working as a team. Right. If you can't put your differences aside to think about business, you gotta go. You can't be representing me, especially if you're gonna be talking back to me and putting your hands on me. Bro, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I don't care if you're having a bad day. Phil has had too many bad days. If you're not gonna get with the program, you're otherwise replaceable. There's other stars that they're looking to pick up. We already heard that they want to pick up people like Mercedes, that to talk to her and convince her and all that.
Right.
That being said, if I were him, I'd be trying to clutch onto my spot. He has the best setup possible. He was getting royalties where he was sitting. He was a champion. You just performed in front of how many people in London and broke a record, for crying out loud. And you over here talking about how you want to quit and you putting your hands on people? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. We don't need that shit. We really don't need that shit. And it sucks, because they almost yet again took away from the roster.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I understand where in some instances people think that, oh, it's a horrible business move that we're getting rid of Punk because of what he gave to the company. I'm not going to deny he gave a lot, but the company didn't need him to be like solidified.
Mm,
It happened. They happened to catch more attention, more traffic because he came, but they proved on All Out with how that show went on that they could survive without Phil, and he has to
mm.
sit with that. That he flopped now with not with one but two companies, and that's all his fault. He has no one else to blame but himself because he could have dealt with it directly like he just did, or he could have been the bigger person and backed away and just told the higher ups what's going on. Like, yo, like I don't, this is beneath me. I grown on from this. I moved on from this. He didn't want to do that. So fire his ass, fuck Phil, and yeah, like Tony was in the right. Tony was in the right. But how do you feel about it, Jordan?
So it's unfortunate. And first of all, let me say this. I don't think it was a good move or a bad move. I think it was a right move. I think it was the right move to do. I think that if everything happened the way that it said that it was happening, I think that Punk should have been fired. He should have been let go of. Because at the end of the day, like Tony Khan said, he said like his life felt threatened, but he also said that he doesn't want a hostile work environment, and he feels like he shouldn't have his workers in a hostile work environment. If there is someone that is incorporating or providing that level of consistent discomfort, I don't think that you should be there. I don't think that that place is cut out for you, and I think that you should find employment elsewhere. Um, it sucks though, because like I'm a Punk fan. Like I like Punk. I feel like his work is pretty good. And so when I heard about all this stuff, it was just like really, really disappointing. Um, I will say though, there were a couple of things that like I found to be pretty suspicious as far as like the heels of everything that was happening. One of those things just being like the way that like there was apparently a report that said the Young Bucks were like, if CM Punk can go 6 months without any trouble, then they would be willing to sit down with him and have a discussion. And it's like based on the reports that were leaking prior to everything that was happening, it's like how would CM Punk have no problems if every other week it's someone's being sent home from TV? And it's some stuff that's like common in wrestling. It's not like anything that's abstract out of the order. He has a problem with this person. I don't like everybody I work with. This person gets sent home from this person. This person gets sent home. It's like, okay, well, what if he just wasn't needed? Is this now blamed to CM Punk? But it's like all this stuff was attributed to CM Punk. Like this people got banned from backstage because of CM Punk. This person didn't work this show because of CM Punk. This person, like whatever, because of CM Punk. And it just felt, while I don't agree with CM Punk's actions, I think that after the first brawl out incident, I think that there were people in AEW that simply didn't want him there and did little things to kind of poke at him to try to, get him to respond in a way in which, oh, that wasn't the one, to get him to respond in a way that just wasn't appropriate or just wasn't best for business. Now, granted, your CM Punk is still a grown man. He's still responsible for his own actions. So it's like I'm not saying that it's the elite's fault. Simultaneously, when as someone who has worked in an environment where people didn't want me there, I know that when you're not wanted in a certain work environment, certain things are going to be thrown your way that wouldn't be thrown towards a normal employee. Like there are going to be times where people are going to try to get you off of your game or get you off of your jock in order to elicit a reaction in order for there to be enough reason for you to be fired. But once again, that doesn't excuse anything that CM Punk did. And to be honest, I commend Tony Khan for his leadership and wanting him to, to do the right thing, even though he is a fan of Punk. Um, but it's just all around, it's just a very, very unfortunate situation. I'm very, very eager to see kind of where everything goes from here. I think this is another random question. Do you think CM Punk is going to WWE?
Um, I can't completely say. All I can confirm is that he's on the unemployment line.
Hmm.
Um, but Is it possible, knowing the history of WWE and how petty they are? It's it's likely, but he's a headache. He is a headache, and I feel like the only way they would take him in WWE is if he signs some shit, because it's not gonna fly over there. There's stuff that he got away with over there. He knows he could have got away with because there was no like real parameters. There wasn't like they had fines over there. They had classes people took if they acted up, but it was still down to like Tony Khan and his decision making.
Mm.
So it wasn't like with WWE where it's just like you knew damn well that if you did something, you were getting fired, you were getting suspended with no pay, you was gonna be embarrassed on live television. Like I feel like the only way that they would negotiate with Phil is if like there's like an actual talk about it, and he
Mm.
has to sign some things down on the bottom line because like they're not gonna let like Phil get into it. Isn't it
Mm.
confirmed that Steph don't even like freaking CM Punk, and that's
Yeah.
like your top stars. Can you imagine like them two mixing it up? Like they would not tolerate it. I don't even think
Mm.
there would be one brawl. It would just be all right, Phil, get out because we was doing fine without you. We don't.
Right.
This is at this point for you. This is us helping you. All right, this is us doing you a favor. So if you
Mm.
fuck this up, like you need to get the fuck out because we doing perfectly fine. We just put on a damn good show on Saturday, bro. We
Right.
not we don't need to do this. But are they probably in talks? Possibly, because what else does CM Punk do when he's not wrestling? Like, what was he
Mm.
really doing in between that whole period that he wasn't wrestling?
It was like MMA, indie films, comics, random assorted things. Like,
Right, like he doesn't have a home anymore, and I don't know how their
right.
finances are looking, but like that was Phil's last opportunity to solidify his legacy, and I feel like him being him, as hard headed as he is, I can't picture himself ghosting at his age. I feel like he would be likely to reach out to some promotion, if not WWE, but some promotion in general to try to prove himself again. He's hard headed. Like I feel like he's that hard headed. Like he's not gonna allow fans to just assume this one way about him. Like I just feel like he just wouldn't do that. So I think so, and I think that Triple H would probably allow it. It'd be like a whole frenemy setup. Like I
Mm.
hate you, but I know you're gonna bring us in ratings, and I know that if we take you back in, we're gonna make AEW look even more pathetic because every person that try to go over there and beat us came crawling right back.
So fun fact: and this is what I was looking up. The upcoming 37th annual Survivor Series will be taking place on November 25th in
Ooh.
Chicago. So be on the lookout for that.
Ooh.
Remember when like Punk got suspended a while ago, and we saw reports of him backstage at Impact, backstage at WWE, clearing the air, clearing out grievances. I can go as far as saying, as Punk knew that, or Punk had a feeling that he wasn't wanted in AEW anymore. And once he got that feeling, he tried to make amends in other places where he would want to wrestle. And because of that, I feel like we can see him in the WWE, and we could actually see him fairly soon. There were rumors and reports that were saying that there was a point in time where Punk allegedly, this is a rumor, where Punk allegedly wanted to leave AEW, go back to WWE, and potentially work a program with Kevin Owens. And to be honest, that would slap. That would go, in my opinion. But I think Punk is gonna make his way back to WWE. I think he is. I think that it's like, well, Seth Rollins doesn't like CM Punk. He also doesn't like Matt Riddle, and they had a pretty good feud. So I don't think that it's a matter of what people like or dislike as much as it is what's the best option, what's going to make the company the most money. And I feel like Punk coming back to WWE in time for WrestleMania 40 is going to generate the company a lot of money and a lot of interest that they probably did not receive before. And for that, I think I can see it actually happening. Now, as it pertains to the whole life threatening thing, I feel like because of the way that the official system is set up in WWE, where you have guys who are in shape, who are stern leaders in the back. I don't think that there's going to be anybody threatened for their lives over CM Punk in WWE, whether it's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, any of the producers who were former wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Adam Pearce. Like, I don't think you're going to get the same thing that we saw in AEW happening in WWE, because WWE has had the manpower backstage for a while to straighten out whatever needs to be straightened out. So I I think my only like statement on that is just like we'll see what happens. But I think that this is a it's going to be a very interesting 3 months. But we want to know how y'all feel about CM Punk being fired from AEW. Let us know in the comments. But speaking of that, there have been reports suggesting that there will no longer be a brand split between AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision. Is this the best solution to make the roster cohesive? Should there be a Collision roster and a Dynamite roster, or should it just be one AEW roster?
They have such a bloated roster that I kind of like the fact that they divided it up. I didn't like the origin reason as to why they were divided up. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that with so many people and so many faces, it does help. Like, if all right, like I don't got time to watch Wednesday, but I know that my favorite is on Saturday, so I'm gonna keep up with
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays. I can't keep up with Wednesday and Saturday. So I feel
Right.
like that would help. And I like the way that the belts were separated. You know what I mean? I feel like wrestling works out better and there's more for them to play around with if they do break up the brands, and maybe they have their own version of a draft and how they settle that every single year to make it more fun and more
Mm-hmm.
playful. So I think that they should keep it. If they want to shake it up now that he's not here, I'm completely here for it. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that it's necessary to get rid of what's already there. Like just because you don't have one guy here now doesn't mean you can't keep it. Like, it was a good foundation, and I had gotten reviews from other fans that were watching Collision because they watch it more steadily than I do, where they said that when I watch Dynamite feels a little bit more like I'm watching WWE sometimes. Like, it's more goofy. It's more of like entertainment. But they feel like when they watch Collision, that's when they get like more serious wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So they had two different distinctive personalities. And I feel like that's what I liked about Raw and SmackDown when I was a kid. I felt like they had their own different identities. So I think that they should keep it and that they would be hurting themselves if they didn't. And I also like the way they lined up All In and All Out as per like the rosters and picking out matches and feuds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they wanted to buy pay-per-views up by this is that donated to this show and this is donated to this show, I'm fine with that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. But what do you think?
Honestly, I think they should keep it as two separate rosters. Not just for the fact that it feels like two separate products, but because I feel like in the midst of all this, we've gotten some pretty interesting developments. Number one being that Ricky Starks is that guy, and he deserves his own spotlight. And I feel like if they conflate the roster, then all of that goes to waste, and it shouldn't go to waste. I feel like Ricky Starks is about to be that guy on Collision. I feel like Swerve is about to be that guy on Dynamite. And I feel like if you just try to blend the rosters, it's going to be very similar to like Raw and how Raw and SmackDown used to be when it was like the mid 2010s, and it was like main event stuff on Raw and then like a tag team match on SmackDown with the same main eventers. It's just going to get really bland. So I think that they should actually keep the two. Well, Ricky Starks being that guy. Another development is Bullet Club Gold. Jay White has proven himself to be a guy who can be a top guy on the show, and Bullet Club Gold has proven himself to be a faction that could be the top faction on a show. Once again, I feel like Collision can be their show. And I feel like the moment that you blow that up, you blow that up that momentum. So I don't think it would be a good idea if they were to do that. But That's just my opinion. But we want to know how y'all feel about it. Should Dynamite and Collision be separate or should they be cohesive? Let us know in the comments below. But we're going to move on because this past Sunday, AEW All Out emanated live from the United States Center. Obviously, crowd was hot. CM Punk had just gotten fired. I just wanted to know some of your takeaways about this All Out pay per view.
Okay, so I was late watching it. I actually started watching the pay-per-view last night. And I felt like there was a certain energy when I was watching All Out. And it made me really happy. It felt as though that since the roster was in, obviously, as the fans were, considering the news that happened the day before, it felt like the roster went above and beyond to try to demonstrate that, like, just because this one person is not here doesn't mean we stop moving.
Mm.
And it felt like everyone in every single match was trying to go hard and put on a damn good show. Now, obviously, it didn't feel like All In. You know, All
Right.
In was just like a spectacle on its own. But it felt like it was a well-rounded pay-per-view that didn't really have any low points. To the point where, like, I could see like a few weeks passing and the CM Punk news is just like left in history. Because I'm like, wow, like it just seemed as if everyone here was just like happy, like as if like a weight was lifted off their chest. So you know, I just congratulations to everyone that like participated in the pay per view because it was a damn good show. My biggest matches so far for me that were definitely my takeaways. Number one for me has to be Ricky Starks and Daniel Bryan's match, or Bryan Danielson, whatever one you want to go with. That match was so fucking good, and I feel like anytime I
Mm.
see Ricky Starks, I'm like, he's a fucking star, he's a fucking star. But that match itself was so fucking good. I didn't even see like the cocky side of Ricky Starks anymore. I just saw like the hungry version of Ricky Starks. Like he just like I never seen him like so thirsty in like not a bad way, but like hungry and thirsty for this win. And I love the way the match fucking finished. It was to me like this top tier storytelling. And I just fucking love the fact that he went out like screaming, screaming, and his eyes were bulging out of his head. I watched every vein pop out his fucking head while both of them are bleeding. And he is being choked the fuck out. And he's just like, I don't respect this piece of shit. I'd be damned if I tap to this motherfucker. And he just
Right.
went out screaming maniacally and just passed out. I was just like, that is fucking amazing. Like, no, it was just so good. It was so good. I ran back the match again. I was like, this is wrestling. That was a match that was so good. It made me proud to be a wrestling fan. I'm like, damn, if I want to put someone on to a wrestling match and help them understand why I like this shit so much, I'm going to refer to that one. That's
Mm.
how much I fucking love that match. That was great shit. Another match that was a common match of the night. Um, fucking Kenny Omega versus Takeshita. Am I pronouncing his name right? Takeshita.
Takeshita. Takeshita.
Takeshita. The
Yeah.
fuck is Takeshita? Who fucking that just that just mix up Sheeta and his name
You just made a
Takesha.
love child of names.
I just made a ship name. But that match was fucking amazing. It was really long, and at first I'm like, yo, they dragging this. But then it picked up. It picked up again just when I got a little bit bored. And it reminded me of like the matches that Kenny would have when he was in Japan. And I thought the
Mm-hmm.
match was hard hitting. It was scary. It scared the shit out of me. Kenny's neck must be fucked up, bro. From that I don't even know what you call that move. I think they called it the avalanche on commentary. But there was this
Yeah.
point where he just threw Kenny's body over his head and then it flung sideways. And then that man whose name who I botched landed on his ass, but then Kenny fell like a half a second after and his neck fell on his ankle. I'm like, oh, bro. Like he fucked his shit up. He fucked his shit up. And I didn't
100%.
and I guessed on him winning. I guessed on him winning last week. And he actually won. I was like, what? They have to fight again. They have to, and I want to see it. I want to fucking see it. And then I think the third match for me, that was the match of the night, has to definitely be Miro versus Hobbs. I don't really care for Hobbs because he pissed me off of the Big Swole situation, but I have to give him credit where it's due. That match was so good. The only thing that pissed me off was the ending. But it was like nice to see just like an old school classic match between two big meaty men or whatever.
Slapping
Like
me.
slapping meat. Crowd was chanting it the whole fucking time. I loved it. I loved it. It was still fast paced for like big men doing big moves, but like Hobbs is super athletic, and
Mm-hmm.
Samoa Joe was just threatening to look at. Like she was chopping Hobbs the fuck up. Hobbs is very much melanated, and I saw red pigment after all them chops on that
That was
man's
nuts.
chest. He was fucking this man up. He was fucking this man up. But ultimately, at the end, who got over on who? I think it was a win through a camel clutch. Is that his finisher, by the way? I had to ask.
Yeah, the band
That's
of
his
blood
finisher?
of your blood. Yeah, I think it is. It was I forgot what it was called in WWE, but like the one where he like stomps on the back and then he like picks him up and then does the thing. Yeah, that's his finisher. That's been his thing.
I, like I said, I don't be keeping up with this man. I just haven't seen a camel clutch be a finisher in such a long time. Jordan is so popular, y'all. Like he
Sorry,
does.
that
No,
was my
it's cool.
girlfriend. But keep
He said,
going.
"Hurry this shit up."
Hold on.
But
Matter of fact, I'm gonna answer on there. Hold on. Be a B. Be a B. Hold on.
is she shy?
I can't hear you. What'd you say? I can't hear you at all. Boo. Oh well, I guess there's that. But keep going. Yeah, that was my girl. She's calling me again. Hopefully this time she'll be a B. Can you hear me now? You can hear me? I can't hear you. Oh, actually, yes, I can hear you. I see your face. You're not satisfied because the train, your favorite. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, I see all them. I see all them Subway logos in the back. Oh my god, I know you are jumping for joy. Baby, you want to know something else? In 20 years, you're going to be getting royalties from a Culture 316 podcast episode because you're on the show. Tell the people them hi. Okay, baby. Let me know when you get to where you get to. And now you're a contributor. Now you're a wrestling analyst. Look at my girlfriend, the wrestling analyst. But
The hell
love you
happened to
more.
my headphones? It didn't fell out.
But um, sorry y'all, that was my girlfriend. I had to pick up that call. But as you were talking about Takeshita. You were talking about
No, I was
Miro
on
and
Hobbs
and Hobbs. Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, that match was so fucking good, and I just love the fact that when it comes to AEW, they pay attention to everything in long-term storytelling. Like I never had to really deal with too many logic gaps. But
yeah,
we had the debut of Lana, CJ Perry, whatever name she's actually going along with, and I love the fact that one, she came out the way I would have came out defending my man. She wasted no time. She didn't even like do her wave, her little pose. No, no, no.
right,
Lana came ready to fight. She came, threw off her motherfucking heels, got a chair out, and she came out swinging for her man. Hobbs is like 3 times her weight, maybe 4 times. I think like 270 pounds, my nigga. And she came out swinging. And then on top of that, Miro just looked at her like, "You dirty bitch! I didn't forget. I didn't forget."
right. Continue that storyline from Bobby Lashley.
Right, that part. Like I almost forgot. I literally almost
Details.
forgot. But AEW didn't forget. So I was like, you know what? I like this because
They
I
didn't.
want to. If y'all not gonna forget about that part, I need Aiden English to come back. Aiden English to come back because I also did not forget what happened in Milwaukee. We still waiting, sir. We still waiting for what happened in
Right.
Milwaukee. Right? So do tell. Bring Aiden's ass back into this storyline. Because I'm going to be invested. If we could get Lana, we could get the whole Rusev Day or Miro Day back, I'm going to be invested. So, yeah, those are my 3 top matches from All Out. Everything else was also really great, but that had to be like my 3 big takeaway matches that I was just like, wow, like this show was really fucking good. Like, I wish I watched it in real time with y'all. I really do. But Jordan, what do you think about the show? What were your top matches? What do you think?
I concur with all your top matches. Pretty much, like I think that they did a really really good job at like just putting over the talents that needed to be put over. But I'm gonna add just one more thing because I will never ever ever stop giving John Moxley the credit that he deserves. That man is the true ace of AEW. Anytime there's a conflict, anytime the locker room is down, anytime where it seems like something's going on, John Moxley comes through, he puts on a performance, he elevates others, and he does what's needed to be done. He's the new AEW International Champion, but he made Orange look like a star, and I feel like it was my
A
concern with
blood
Orange Cassidy,
orange.
huh?
He turned him to a
Orange.
blood orange.
He
He was a
did. He
bloody
did.
orange.
100%. He was leaking everywhere, as John would love it. But I feel like the biggest concern with me was like with Orange Cassidy is that if he drops the title, like what is he going to do? But now I feel like he's in a prime position for like a TNT championship reign, maybe even somehow, some way going for a world title, or even like being a part of the best friends as far as like being a trios champion. But he was able to kind of elevate Orange even in his loss. Um, and he was kind of able to kind of solidify himself as the ace of the company with that AEW International Championship. So I want to say that that for sure. Also, love the storytelling between that moment between Samoa Joe and MJF. Um, the shove, I think that was genius. And for those of you who aren't aware, when Samoa Joe was the NXT champion, he was coming out for his match at a takeover. I think it was 2014 or 2015. MJF was actually the security, um, play security, and like MJF walked in front of him, and Samoa Joe kind of pushed him back. So that spot was actually a callback to that spot in NXT, and it was super intentional, and it set up their feud. And both of them are just great on the mic, and I'm just very much looking forward to see whatever they put together. It's going to be fantastic. But those are
Y'all
kind of
are
like my moments.
good. Y'all are good for peeping that. I was trying to figure that shit out. I'm like, did I miss too many episodes or something? Like, why the fuck is he so mad? Like, Adam Cole was
No,
trying to stop this man, but
right,
like MJF was seeing red, and he came to fuck him up, and he tried to fuck him up again. I was
right.
like, why he hates this man so much? What did he do?
But literally, it was a callback to that, and the idea was like, I'm not that same kid that you put. He even said it. He said it in a tweet. He was like, I'm not that kid you pushed in Brooklyn, and
Oh
I was like, wow,
shit.
that's cute. And also to make it interesting, MJF has referenced his WWE work in promos, uh, like specifically to be an extra, like when he had his little feud with William Regal. So I thought that was very, very interesting. But yeah, let
Amazing.
us know how y'all felt about All Out and what may have you. I thought it was a great show. I think that they came out, and I feel like what made the difference is like the CM Punk conflict was lifted, but I also feel like the roster had something to prove. They were like, listen, like you said, we're good without Punk. We don't need him to put on a great show, and that's what we're gonna do. And they understood the assignment and they did it. So let us know how y'all feel about All Out in the comments below. But we're gonna be moving on because rumors have reported and suggested that our girl Bianca Belair is actually in the midst of a hiatus from WWE. Do you believe that this hiatus is needed? Do you think that the women's division misses Bianca Belair?
Um, all right, let me preface this by saying I am one of the biggest Bianca Belair fans there is. I love me some Bianca Belair. Okay, I love everything she's done for the roster. I love the way she's done represented this culture. I feel
Mm-hmm.
inspired every time I see her as a fan. I love the way she be making little girls feel, and little boys feel. I love her presentation. I think she's done so much for this company, but I do feel like she was getting tiring.
Mm,
And it's not her fault. She's not doing anything wrong. She's doing exactly what she's told. And they're saying, like, look, we like the same little formula for you. They gave her the John Cena thing, do your few little moves, do like, your little your strong woman shtick, come out flipping your ponytail and tell everyone you're the EST. The only thing is that, well, I understand why there's so much investment in her because, like, yeah, she's the perfect baby face. Like, no one's gonna touch besides probably Sasha being like that much of a baby face
right.
that Bianca Belair is. But the thing is that when you have someone being a clean cut baby face without much other like layers to go into the baby face, it's very hard. It's very hard to give a baby face more layers, especially with how the roster to me is a little bit dry.
Agreed.
I felt like a lot of people were getting tired of Bianca, and me included. It wasn't like her matches were bad; her matches were great. It's just that the feud just felt like predictable. The promos, there was nothing that you could have missed the show and missed the promos and just been like, all right, I know what she said anyways. I'm
Mm,
I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. EST. You know what I mean? Um, and I feel like she deserves a break because she did so much for us. She has gotten no break her damn self. She's I feel like she left everyone in a very decent position. But I feel like she's a very hard worker. She deserves this break, but we also need a break from her so we could appreciate her again.
right.
I don't know if that means they're gonna repackage her back as a heel. Personally, as a Bianca stan, my favorite version of Bianca was when she was a heel. I loved her straight out of the Mae Young Classic, but my favorite word from Bianca, still to this day, is me watching her as a heel.
Mm,
I love sassy Bianca because there was more ways that she could tell her story. I
yes.
like when she was bitter. I like when she was vicious. I love when she was nasty. I love the way she was like popping her gum when she was talking her shit during her promos. I loved it. So I feel like if they bring her back, they have the opportunity to not only make us miss her, but give us a chance to see her as heel, even if it's short term. Even if it's short term. But will they do it? I don't know because it took us such a long time to get there with Bailey.
Mm,
But because we waited so long with Bailey, when she turned heel, it was such a pivotal moment. There was kids
mm,
crying on film because Bailey turned. I could only imagine. You remember the video that they would not stop playing? So
yeah.
I could only imagine with Bianca with how many little girls. Like when I say little girls feeling sorry Bianca, there's little
Bro.
white girls. There's little
With
white girls bringing,
braids.
yes, bringing their mom to the beauty supply store for some kink along here, ask them for these for these long ass braids and WWE sewing weaves. That's how much of a cultural impact Bianca has brought to WWE. So it's going to be a big thing to me, at least, or I feel like I'm perceiving that if she does turn heel, it would bring something to the division. She wouldn't fade anywhere. I don't think anyone will lose, but it'd be a perfect way to create another baby face by making her a heel because she's good at it. She could do
Mm,
both. So let her do both. And the people who are tired of Bianca because they didn't get to experience her the way I got to experience her in NXT, they could see why she really is that girl.
mm.
Because she could do it all. She really is the EST in more ways than one, baby. But how do you feel about it?
I like the way that you ended that. But so here's my thing. I don't think that they're gonna turn Bianca Belair heel because of how much of that girl Bianca Belair has become. I mean, every WWE commercial she is on, C4, Snickers, Slim Jim. Like it's what was it? Uber Eats at one point. I think it was Uber Eats or
She's on
DoorDash.
Uber
She was
Eats?
in. Yeah,
Ooh!
she had an Uber Eats commercial. So
Collect your
like
coins, sis. Collect
so
your
beyond,
coins.
and that's not even mentioning the reality TV show that's slated to come out soon. So Bianca is everywhere. She is the women's face of the WWE. She is one of the faces of the WWE, not a woman face. She is one of the faces of WWE. And because of that, I think they are pretty much giving her the John Cena treatment as far as like just keeping her as a face. However, I do believe that she deserves a break. And it kind of also fits with the storyline because remember the last time we saw her, she was damn near on one leg. She got beaten for the title because she was injured after she persisted through that match. So it makes sense. It 100% makes sense for her to take a break. I think that she has been a nonstop face of the WWE for the past couple years with no break. And considering that everything that she's involved in, she deserves a break. So I'm really, really happy for her. She deserves that rest. But I don't think she's gonna turn heel. I think I would love to see her turn heel because of the layers. But one of the things that I noticed in NXT is that the mainstream WWE audience is not ready for heel Bianca because heel Bianca is ghetto. And so because of that, because of what the term ghetto is associated with, I don't think the WWE wants to turn her heel because when you do, you're going to cut off all of that mainstream coin that she's getting. So that's my
It's
thing with that.
funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because I have a lot of people that think that she acts too polished.
Mm,
Like there's some people that actually dislike her as a babyface because she comes off too perfect. It doesn't come off realistic.
authentic, yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's mhm.
you could add some character modification in there, but it's not about what I like. It's just about what they want to consume. So
The whites. Like
the napkin Americans,
there you go. There you
the napkin Americans. Shout outs to my brother Dart for that term. But yeah, I want to know how y'all feel about Bianca Belair taking a hiatus from WWE. Let us know in the comments below how you feel about the break that she is taking. And I think that concludes our show for today. Thank y'all so much for joining us for another episode. I know that this episode is dropping on a Saturday morning, but we'll be back on Thursday morning next week. Talk to you guys soon. Talk to you guys then. Thank you so much and have a good week.